Welcome back. It's our Whitesnake special.
Hi, this is David Coverdale from Whitesnake. You're listening to Andy Fox on GTFM 107.9.
For over 30 years, David Coverdale's established himself as an icon of rock music. Singer, songwriter, frontman and showman, firstly fronting Deep Purple Mark III and then, of course, his own band Whitesnake. He joined Purple from obscurity in 1973, replacing Ian Gillan until their eventual demise in 1976. Then forming Whitesnake 2 years later, releasing 11 albums to great success, peaking with the Whitesnake 1987 album, selling over 8 million copies, and the reworked Here I Go Again, topping the American Billboard chart. But following that mega success, Coverdale became rather uncomfortable with the MTV image and put Whitesnake on hold. But after disappointing sales for the 2000 solo album called Into the Light, he revived Whitesnake to tour, featuring Doug Aldridge, Reb Beach, Tommy Aldridge, Marco Mendoza and Timothy Drury. They've since toured regularly, releasing a live DVD in 2006 and a live album last year, leading to a new studio album this year, the first for a decade, called Good to Be Bad, which is poised to enter the UK album chart in the top 10. I recently went to London to talk to David Coverdale on the release of the album and firstly asked him about the revival of Whitesnake.
It's interesting because I'm really motivated, inspired to take Whitesnake all the way. And I think it's going to involve me doing stuff that I've resisted doing before.
Yeah.
But this kind of stuff is, as long as you're just being yourself.
Yeah. I want to go back a little bit after 2000's Into the Light.
I knew you would.
Most people thought that Whitesnake was over, I think, at that point.
Yeah. Me too, me included.
But you kind of reinvented yourself for the 25th anniversary tour.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say that reinvention of Whitesnake, I saw you on that Monsters of Rock tour, and the power off that stage that day was awesome. To me, in the UK, certainly, the rebirth, if you like, of Whitesnake.
Well, you've got to remember, when I come home, I always try too hard as well. You know, it's that missing that connection. But I don't have that kind of corporate pressure I had before, you know. Once Whitesnake achieved that incredible success in the late 80s, it was like the answer, the validation for all of the work, all of the stuff that you'd worked towards, only like amplified 100 times. And anyway, but it's also really distracting. You know, am I still having fun with it and all that kind of stuff? And of course, I found myself in what I call the belly of the corporate beast. Instead of being in control, it was like being controlled. And I'm not, it doesn't suit me at all, that. But to go on to move forward to the Into the Light thing, I invested so much heart and soul into that piece of work. I gave it to a record company who just didn't care.
No.
And that was the motivating factor for me to go, enough already, I'm out of here. I'm very lucky that my records still sell and all that kind of stuff, and I retired, or kind of semi-retired, up to Tahoe, and very happily watched my son grow, and took him to school, and continued to do that, of course, and didn't want anything whatsoever to do with the corporate music business anymore.
I was supposed to do a deal with Warner Music Group at the beginning of last year, and that fell south once they posted a huge quarterly loss. So I sat down after preparing all these songs for a new album and thought, well, what I want to do. My wife could see I was interested in singing and working again. The passion was secure, but how to go about it. So we sat and talked about it, and she said, well, what aspect of the music business do you actually care for? And the only aspect of the music business I care for is the performing, the actual connecting between an audience and the musicians on stage. So that's the idea. We put the word out and said, would anybody be interested? And the interest was significantly more slanted in the idea of me working as Whitesnake than as David Coverdale. Basically, it was a kind of, is that going to be a problem to me? No. Would I have loved to have seen my solo career take off? Yes. But I'm not losing any sleep over it. Absolutely fine. I'm fine with how things are.
But then since then, you've toured quite a lot.
Well, geez, I came out to do 2 months. I went home 9 months later. You know, there was no intention, there was no agenda, there was no intention for me to continue doing it. It just unfolded really naturally. It wasn't a record company saying, oh, you got a promotion, this, you know, promote that. For instance, when I went out after working with Pagey, I'd worked with Jimmy, God bless him, for 3 years, and I did 6 shows.
Really?
I love to play.
Of course you do, yeah.
You know, so I thought, oh, I'll go out. I formed a kind of band called the Dog's Bollocks. You know, just to go out and play theatres and stuff and have a bit of fun. And EMI and Universal decided to release Whitesnake's Greatest Hits, which went to #1 on both sides of the Atlantic. So then, of course, everybody's going, well, you've got to call it Whitesnake. I'm going, well, this isn't really a Whitesnake that I've put together. So, you know, you compromise. And
So what I'm really getting at is, were those tours the catalyst to start writing again with Doug? Because, I mean, obviously...
But even then, Andy, at the on 2003, you know, all I was planning to do was go out. I had such fun. I told the band, you know, do you fancy doing this a couple of months of the year? You know, every year. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, fine, because everyone had fun. That was the plan. Prior to 2003, SPV had been making, you know, seductive wooing noises towards me, and I said, that's very flattering and stuff, but I don't want to do it again. I did not really know SPV. But they kept on. So as this band's getting better and better, the responses are getting better and better. My website that I'm very involved with,
it's good.
They kept nailing me. You know, they're encouraged to ask me stuff and interact, like fool that I am. But I said, what else do you want from me after all these years? And the global network of Whitesnake fans said, #1, we want a live in-concert DVD, which I delivered 2 years ago. We want a live Greatest Hits, which I delivered a year and a half ago. And we want a new studio record with new material, which this weekend I'm delivering to you. 15 new songs, you know, which including the 4 on the Live in the Shadow of the Blues. And now I want to play them. You know, there's your, you know, I've fulfilled my promises, I think, and to the best of my ability. But it's the inspiration of these guys, the reinvention of it. But it's also a time of reinvention. It's a time of change. Can you hear the wind blow?
Tell me, baby, what's on your mind?
Is it nice? Is it great working with Doug as a writing partner?
It's great with Doug, and it's great with these guys. Working with Chris Frazier, the latest Snake. I think Whitesnake's seasonal now. But he's brought a great swing back. He's a huge Cozy fan, you know? But I hear more pacey in his playing.
So do I. Okay, let's talk about the album. So, Good to Be Bad combines all the elements, I think, of classic Whitesnake. I mean, you know, for all those people who like the old band, if you like to call it that, it combines that as well.
The old band with an E, old with an E.
Yes, and also, you know, there's plenty of balls, melody, power, and humour. You've said yourself that it's very butch and very muscular, which I think is a great comment about it.
But how was the last time? One of the things I really liked about early Whitesnake was always that we'd have that tongue-in-cheek aspect. We'd have a lie down, I think I love you, or would I lie to you? You know, that fun. I realised I haven't had one of those for years.
No, you haven't done it for a while.
Until Good to Be Bad. To that song. That's totally back to that love hunted time, which without actually consciously going for that. That kind of tongue-in-cheek innuendo thing. So there's a clue to me having fun.
Yes, absolutely. I love particularly All I Want, All I Need. I think that would make a great single.
It's a love song. It's a gift to my wife. I'm going home to celebrate our 10th wedding anniversary. We've been together 18 years now. I met her when I was divorcing the video vamp. And she lights me up.
Video
totally, But when I looked over the lyric, I went, Jesus, this could be easily a love song to the Whitesnake Choir. It's about a long-term relationship. Of course, we're celebrating 30 years this year. You know, of all we've been through, you know, the mistakes we've made, you know, on both sides, and come out stronger the other side, you know. So it's a song I can't wait to sing to the crowd. It's a very special Whitesnake song for me.
I think it would make a good single.
Well, I don't know. Do they do singles now?
Well,
yeah, I trust, but I can't believe I'm saying this. I trust the record company.
Okay.
Let them go with it.
Wherever you go.
Another one that would make a good single is All for Love. That's a classic track.
Well, there's a guy I work with in Germany called Ollie. He just went through the roof when he heard that.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's got a Lizzie thing to it, of course.
Yeah.
But people tend to forget that it's like all of my songs are related. They're all brothers, sisters, and cousins. And you can go back to The Time Is Right for Love. That fits there, Straight for the Heart. All of those songs, there's that particular kind of theme. Here I Go Again, Now You're Gone, Loving No Stranger, Ain't Gonna Cry No More, Blind Man. All of these songs are particular structures that I've enjoyed immensely as a musician and as a singer, and I reinvent that structure.
Yeah. Lay Down Your Love is nice with the intro.
Well, that's me doing my own Beach Boys.
Yeah.
So the record company couldn't decide whether they wanted a video of Lay Down Your Love or All for Love, and I went, do both of them. And we played to 48,000, 50,000 people in Wellington, and and of course my big concern, Andy, was how are we going to pull off these harmonies live? And the guys sing it better than I do.
Really?
It's huge.
Amazing.
It's huge.
Excellent.
Timothy, the keyboard player, is like way up the top there. And it's a fabulous moment, one of those like, Jesus, look at the hairs here,
Yeah.
And then the band,
Excellent.
So the audience goes nuts. They're singing the song from the beginning. And it's turned into this instant classic. It's like they knew it for 20 years. It was an extraordinary feeling. You'll see the video. They're going back singing it on the bleeding video. They'd never heard it before.
Lay down your love.
Now, we've all known your love of blues,
Yeah.
and I particularly like A Fool in Love. I think it's a dirty blues stomper, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great
Well,
tune.
I sent an email to all the guys last week. I was showering somewhere, and I had the iPod going on in the bathroom, and Fool in Love came on, and I went, fuck, I've got to do it. So I emailed everyone, make sure you get the dust off that one as well. Because every so often there's emails going out going, oh, and don't forget, can you hear the wind blow? And
Yeah. Are you kind of enthused about doing the new songs live?
it's one of the reasons I committed to a new record.
Okay.
You remember, if you're as familiar with my
yes.
career, I've always only done tours every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And the songs always stayed fresh. When I'm doing it almost annually now, some of the songs aren't as inspiring. I have to dig really deep to fire the spark. Like starting an old engine on a winter morning. However, popping these new songs in just as revitalized, rejuvenated, re-energized. I tell you, I was singing with a fire up my arse in Australia. I was really very excited. Just excited about it.
I love Till the End of Time as well. What a track that is.
Yeah.
And
That was the very last song we wrote for the record.
It's very reminiscent of Till the Day I Die and Ain't Gonna Cry No More,
Yeah.
of course. But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I don't think you're repeating
No,
yourself.
the relatives.
I think, like you said, they're relatives. So I really like that track as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the album's corking, and I'm slightly concerned that I'm only slightly concerned because you've said in the press, and I don't know if this is true, that if this is our swan song, it's a great way to go out with.
Well, I was going to, when I've finished mixing this, I turned around to Michael, my co-producer, and I said, you know what, I might call this Whitesnake's Greatest Hits Volume 2. Because I looked at it, and it had all the bits and pieces that I like.
Yeah.
Now, there was no kind of plan to put this cocktail or this, mix of... It was the media, and the people, of course, who were hearing it and downloading it on the internet like 6 weeks ago. They're all going, oh man, this is great, it's a mix of the early years and a mix of the... and I'm going, oh, well, that's great. If it sums up 30 years of Whitesnake, then, geez, So, but the big thing for me, I'm 56 now, I'm 57 in September. It took a year for me to put this together, to write the songs from scratch, from start to finish.
Yeah.
I don't want to take another year off. These songs are really butch to sing. Physically, there will come a time that I'm not going to be able to pull these off.
Yeah.
It's not like the Stones where, Jagger can do his monologue. Still of the Night has got to be,
Absolutely.
Tarzan, loincloth stuff. Otherwise, it's going to be pathetic. And, the last thing I even want to consider is that,
Okay. Well, we're looking...
we'll see. I never intended to make this one. Who knows?
Yeah.
But let me enjoy this.
Of course.
That's the scenario. We're going to get, I love this record, we're going to get another one. No. You got 15 songs in the last 2 years. Enjoy the buggers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope, anyway.
so far away of time.
Now, talking of touring, you're back out with Def Leppard.
Yes!
And
it's an insidious plot for Yorkshire lads to take over the world, Andy. I warn thee now.
June and July. I'm really pleased that you've added a Cardiff date. Thank you for that.
Well, I got nailed by my Welsh rarebits on whitesnake.com.
So you should
but
have.
it wasn't just that. Because I'd called, as I was calling my agent to say, what about this? I bumped into the promoter in Los Angeles. He said, I'll have as many dates as you can give us.
Really?
And I said, well, let's get out there. See, because I definitely wanted to do Liverpool Arena, because I love Liverpool. Liverpool was how I realised there was a groundswell of support for me after Deep Purple, because I certainly wasn't getting it for the Purple management at that time. It's a whole different story. But they were actually calling us to say, can we do some more? And we were just assembling stuff. I think Leopards have like their American tours and stuff or whatever, which is very lucrative for them too. But I'm delighted. But the success of what's happening here is resonating. We're doing some European stuff there. I think we're going down to Greece and Istanbul with them, and probably some Japanese stuff.
Cool.
And it's cracking. We're doing 50, splitting the cost 50-50.
I'm seeing a cross-section of audiences, I'd say, from early teens, 15, 16, up into people who I think saw me with Deep Purple, late 50s, maybe even going into the Charlie Watts age. And they're not making me feel like I'm doing anything retro. They're singing those songs, we're performing those songs as fresh as when they were first done. And I couldn't do it any other way. Whether or not there's a current trend moving back that way, I don't know. That's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I was invited to come out to play, and it was a more attractive package than going out with some of the glam acts that was suggested before. And basically, I think it's like a snowball rolling down the side of a snow-covered hill. It's just gathering momentum wherever we go. Very excited about it, and hopefully we'll all have a good time.
Finally, then, I want to go to the inevitable question. You've had a fantastic 30 years of Whitesnake, and a few years, of course, that in Purple.
And Jimmy Page.
And Jimmy Page, yes, mustn't forget that. What's the most abiding memories of your... I mean, we'd probably be here all day, but, are there particular moments, particular songs?
The biggest memories for me is my children, but professionally, my audition for Deep Purple, which I can remember as pristine as yesterday. I remember Glenn falling in the studio with his Easy Rider glasses kind of knocked off, and his hair, this amazing mane of hair, carrying his Rickenbacker in the case. Sorry, I'm late, mate. Just a total fucking chaos falling in the door. And Richie Blackmore above it all, with two German Irish wolfhounds, and John Lord being an absolute charmer to me. He helped calm me down.
You had a few whiskies, didn't you?
Well, I brought a bottle of Bell's Before You Go, and the guy who brought me down from Redcar, like a kind of acting manager, he knew I was nervous, and when you're nervous, you have a sip of this or a gulp of this and that. So he hid it from me. I found it immediately, and I was necking it, and but fortunately nothing too wobbly or embarrassing. And the only Purple song I'd borrowed Purple albums to. I knew In Rock. I thought that was amazing, and of course Amaretta, and I wasn't a Hush fan or anything, but I thought Wring That Neck and Amaretta were great, and In Rock I thought was astonishing. But I didn't know them.
Right.
But I was working in this boutique after I've left art college, and this young girl lent me Machine Head, I think it was, and You Are the Music, we're just a band.
Yeah,
Well, the girl I was living with at the time heard Glenn singing and sort of looked at me, and the look said, without having to say anything, don't know why you're bothering, because he's just a bluebird, Then the next thing, actually getting the job, was, great, of course, and then I had to go down to Clearwell Castle in Gloucestershire, and I was just avoiding everything. John Lord was late coming down. He was doing something or other. And that's when the nerves were really kicking in, because I had to deliver. John came down, we went out to the pub and had a bunch of scrumpy and what have you. And we came back, and he went into the crypt, and I followed him, and he just started to play, and I started to sing with him. And he's a beautifully sensitive musician. For all the the bombast of what Deep Purple represented. They were great musicians and very sensitive players. The common denominator was that love of rock. But John, as an instrumentalist, it was marvellous with inversions. It wasn't just playing a G chord, it was the way he would play that, the notes that he selected and the sensitivity with which he performed it. And, you know, I was singing In My Life, the Beatles, and then we'd move on to something else. So as I was doing this, surreally, all the butterflies were flying out, and then Richie came in, and just things built from there. And then Richie and I pretty much wrote most of that album.
What about the Snakes? I mean, obviously there was the early career we've mentioned.
Yeah.
Two great performances at Donington, and I'm not sure you were happy with
Donington was huge, you know, playing there. Just, you know, because I formed Whitesnake against all the odds. The management company wasn't really backing it. They backed Pace Ashton Lord. You know, they weren't backing Glenn and me and Rainbow. You know, Glenn and me were like the new kids on the block, you know. More, I don't know, more bothered. I'd moved to Bavaria, out of sight, out of mind, probably. And of course, my first, you know, I came over, I wanted to make Mickey Moody a star. Well, I don't think he wanted to be one, but that was my plan at the time.
You did.
And I'd bumped into Bernie. I'd gone to see, Mickey was playing with Frankie Miller's Full House at, I think it was the Rainbow. And I bumped into Bernie there, and initially I was looking at Mel Galley, God bless him, and Dave Holland as the nucleus, and then Bernie turned up. I didn't even know. I wanted a two-guitar. Not a lot of people know that part of the blueprint for Whitesnake was the Allman Brothers. I loved the Allman Brothers' first record. I just thought that was a fusion of blues and rock, you know, with the commercial stuff, which was just amazing. Still do, it's an amazing record. Duane Allman, my God. So one of the things, the parameters for Whitesnake was to be, the songs would be, you know, short, concise, to the point, and if anything, we just made them twice as long in concert for the guitar solo, which also gave me an opportunity to get me breath back for the next one. But yeah, I wanted to tie in hard rock, rhythm and blues, soul, you know, within... You know, I can hear what I'm talking about. Very few people can hear when I talk about Fool for Your Loving being written for B.B. King. At the time he was working with the Crusaders. I can hear it easily performed by them, just not as aggressively guitar-oriented. I can completely hear that performed lightly. You know, so a song can be, if it's a good song, it should be able to be performed well, not naked by the performer, but nakedly acoustically, or with an orchestra, or with, you know... if it has any worth as a song. I tell you, a fantastic moment was I formed a video band of Adrian Vandenberg, Vivian Campbell, Rudy Sarzo and Tommy Aldridge as a video band. That would have been the band I wanted to put together, but I was very much in debt at the time. Yeah. So to do Still of the Night, Here I Go Again, and Is This Love? And we did them within less than 2 weeks. And I didn't even know whether they'd work as a band. And when of course it just blew out of the box. And amazing. But that first rehearsal, actual rehearsal of those musicians playing like Slow and Easy and Still of the Night was astonishing. Really? I went, oh my God. I could hardly sleep that night. That was it. I'd slept like a baby that night. Yeah. But I came back. I'd had a very sad, you know, I'd separated from my first wife, and I'd missed my child Jessica just immensely. And I'd flown over. I was living at the Mondrian Hotel in Los Angeles, and I flew over to Munich for Christmas, and had a very sort of unhappy time. I wasn't welcomed, and it was emotional. It was pretty bad. And I flew back to Los Angeles just after Christmas, and I got the flu really bad. When I walked into my suite, there was a cassette in those days, of course, a mastered cassette of the album, and I went, oh God, because of course I have to sign off on it, and I put it in my Walkman Professional. I put the headphones on, and I went, it's all over. But I'd set up, you know, a lot of people don't realize, I'd set up the love affair with American radio with the Sided-In record.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, a lot of people I meet now say that just led them straight to the 87, but what we had then was MTV. So Whitesnake came together. It's all synchronicity. It's all independent elements that suddenly come together and crystallize, and oh my God. And God goes, all right, son, there you go. And you go, oh. I think a lot of people have opportunities. Sometimes you miss them. I go, whoa, I'll have that for a few minutes and then, let it go again.
I'm the Edith Piaf of rock. I have no regrets. I've entered my fourth decade as a musician, and I'm digging deeper and performing with more intensity than ever. In terms of my aspirations, I'd love to be able to achieve a positive success level that Whitesnake could go out for 6 months a year. The other 6 months I'd be able to indulge in watching my son grow, spending time with my daughter, my wife, all of those things. It isn't necessary for me to scale the Everest of the music business anymore. I did very well. I don't doubt that I'll do well again. Forgive me, otherwise I'd never get on a stage or do this if I didn't think I'd do well. I believe in myself. I believe in what I have to offer. I think from what I can see and feel with audiences we've played to so far, everyone needs a dose of Whitesnake, baby. It's good therapy and it's uplifting stuff. I want to spread the joy, because the more joy I spread, the more happy I am. And that's it.
The song that anybody asks, what sort of sums up Whitesnake? A song with a perfectly legitimate lyric about true event in my life. It's a great melodic song. It has a whisper to a scream vocal. It has your power guitars, the sensitive aspect. It covers a multitude of sins. It's Here I Go Again.
I've enjoyed our David Coverdale Whitesnake special. What a lovely man. Until the next time from me, Andy Fox, whatever you do, keep doing the things that make you feel good. I'll be back next Wednesday for another rock show, of course, from 10 till 12, only here on GTFM 107.9. Good night, God bless.